this young man, I'll just call you a young man, has a close place in your heart as well.
And Jacques did so good tonight too, and so enjoyed your session tonight. And I especially enjoyed, just talk to us a little bit about, Jacques, talk to us a little bit about compassion and how that motivates you, because you said it so beautifully in there, but just kind of recap that for us. Tell me about how compassion motivates you to do everything you do now for Jesus.
Yeah, you know, I've learned compassion through my training.
Yeah.
You know, we've been taught that there is a difference between compassion and pity.
Yes.
If there is something wrong with somebody else, and you just come and say, oh, I'm sorry, this is really bad, but you do nothing.
Yeah.
You are just having pity.
Yeah.
But compassion is beyond pity.
Yeah.
When you take an action.
Move to action.
You move to action. This is what I've been taught, and this is really important in the lives of Christians, and you know, it's so important we don't just stop by seeing the suffering, but we need to think of how to alleviate the problem.
You know, in the story of the Good Samaritan, you probably know this, Chuck, but when the Good Samaritan, you know, the two religious people, they ignored him.
Yes.
But when the Samaritan saw him, they said something happened on the inside. That word is compassion. He was moved with compassion. But it made him go do something. Exactly. He went to the injured man. He got down in the dirt and he poured oil on him and he bandaged him. But I think the key, and then 1 Timothy or 2 Timothy says that if you see your brother in need and you close your heart of compassion, you don't have a true faith. So I agree with you.
Yes.
And I think too that as we care for such sick people, keeping that compassion always on high alert, because it's easy to get tired, it's easy to get frustrated, it's easy to look at people as just a bother instead of letting them, you know, let your heart be engaged to have compassion on them. Do you ever have that problem?
Oh yes, you know, in Africa, in so many private hospitals, on top of what you are just saying, there is now, you know, people are motivated by money.
Money, yeah.
You know, when a patient is really sick but does not have money, there's a problem. They will just let the guy die, or you know, they do nothing. Either you pay, you get the treatment, or not. This is not what Jesus was doing. You know, Jesus was even interrupted, but he's ready to look around. Hey, what's going on, and to try to take care of the person.
Even when he was tired.
Even when he was tired. Even when he was doing something else. So Jesus is really a great example for us for compassion. So this compassionate care, we should be carrying it on in our lives. I've seen so many patients, especially in private hospitals, in government hospitals, people, they don't care. But we are the new generations of, you know, healthcare personnel. We need to do it the way Jesus wants.
Yeah, that's good. I loved what you said too, Jacques. If you have to have, when God tells you to do something, if you have to have Him tell you when and how and where, and you don't need details, do you? You just have to be obedient. Elaborate on that for me.
Exactly. So, you know, when you want to have all the answers before you act, then you will never act.
You'll never act.
You never act. But we just need, this is partly the faith.
It's
you
faith.
know,
Walking in
it's
faith.
the faith. So we want to move forward, but you know that the person who will carry you beyond your, you know, beyond your thinking, it's God. So God has all the answers in His store. It's just a matter of asking Him to lift you up, to carry you to the next level. This is faith. So if you have compassionate, you associate with faith, there is miracle.
That's right.
You will see what you have not even asked for.
Chuck, don't you think that's a good point, though? If you have to have all the answers before you take a step, you'll never do anything.
Right.
And you have to step out in faith, you know.
I've heard a phrase a couple of times from you today, Dr. Paul, that I'd never heard before, compassion fatigue. Is that a pretty common thing to happen in the medical profession?
It's very common. It's a symptom of burnout.
Because you see so much hurt,
you see so much hurt, and you just have to kind of wall yourself off. And very often it's associated with depression. But you know, Jesus doesn't want us to be compassion fatigued. He wants us to be full of compassion.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's the key, to keep ourselves full of compassion. Part of it, if we're talking about compassion fatigue and burnout, is that we're not taking care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves to keep ourselves full,
Right.
so that we can minister to other people.
Right.
And that's full spiritually, full mentally, full emotionally, full physically. We have to take care of ourselves. And so many times as physicians and as surgeons especially, we don't take care of ourselves. And so as a result, I think that leads to problems.
Yeah.